In this video, we're going to be comparing my own computer, which is a STORMFORCE 10900K RTX 3090, that's what you're looking at right now, to a beautiful and beastly 12900K RTX 3090 Ti. We're going to be comparing them in VR and in 4K 2D mode in Microsoft Flight Simulator in the most demanding areas. And we're going to start right now. As you can see on the left hand side, that is the 10900K, my own computer, and of course on the right, the beastly 12900K Intel CPU running a Ti version of the RTX 3090. We are at London City, the PC breaker area, and I can assure you I've spent an age making sure my in-sim settings, my OpenXR toolkit settings, and the HP Reverb G2, which we're using in this test, is all running exactly the same. In fact, if you want to see my settings, they are still the same as my latest HP Reverb G2 setup video, because it's one thing I always say, it's important to set and forget. Get the optimum settings for your PC and then forget about it, just enjoy flying. I don't think changing your settings and having different setup guides every week is a very good idea. So this is really interesting actually, because I did say in my first impressions video of the 12900K that I didn't really feel much of a difference. But you can clearly see here that even in this really sort of hardcore stress test, because bear in mind guys, I know these frame rates might be low, but I'm really putting these computers through the test here. I really am, and I think in pretty much every scenario I was quite surprised to see that the 12900K machine is at least 5 to 6 frames per second more. But you know what, actually I think every single frame counts. And one thing I have noticed, because the last week you've seen of my videos at least, I have been using nothing other than the 12900K RTX 3090 Ti, and actually something I have noticed, when I'm recording VR, wow, I actually definitely noticed that extra performance. Everything feels so much smoother, there's less stuttering, the frame timing also feels just that little bit better as well. In fact, I think you can really see that in my last video, which was flying the Just Flight 146 in VR. I reckon that's one of my smoothest videos I've ever made in terms of the sort of motion on the ground and the performance, simply because I was using the 12900K 3090 Ti machine. Anyway, that's enough of London. Let's pop over to New York, and we're actually in the greatest aircraft that we've seen to date for Microsoft Flight Simulator, the Just Flight 146 Professional. Now, do you know what guys, I can't tell you how hard it is to sort of try and sync two different flights up together, especially in VR. It's really hard. There's Martin doing the call outs, but straight away actually you can see that once again the 12900K is getting very close to 40 frames per second at times. Bear in mind I am recording as well. I think the 12900K is better at recording, handling those really hard tasks. I have a feeling guys, because please let me know in the comments, I'm not going to pretend that I understand all of that information there on the frame counter. I really don't. So all you knowledgeable people out there, please do give me your sort of thoughts on this. But I think this is mainly down to the CPU. The 12900K just giving that extra grunt. I honestly don't think the 3090 Ti is doing much here. I was actually very tempted to mention to STORMFORCE whether I can actually swap just the GPUs around, but I don't think that's worth it folks, I really don't, because you're looking at about probably 1.5–2% difference, and in real terms I don't think that's not going to make a very interesting video, put it that way. But again, let me know in the comments what you think about that. Anyway, we're really nice and low now in the 146 over New York. I'm risking my simulator pilot's license for you guys and my own safety, so I hope you do appreciate this video. But yeah, I think overall I was more surprised once I did this test, and I really had to do this to really understand the differences. In fact, here it's almost 10 frames per second more. just then it was, as the 10900K was sort of topping out about 25 frames per second, the 12900K was at 35. Of course, there's all sorts of different variabilities as well. I'm not doing a scientific test here, but this is the best I can do, folks. My channel isn't really about these sort of scientific tests, but I think this does show you that the 12900K just has that extra grunt. Now, this next test is very interesting because we're going to swap over to 2D mode in 4K, and this surprised me. Now bear in mind, I've now swapped the two comparisons around. It's the only way I could have done it to show you the frame rate counter, because it's so tiny, because we're in 4K now. But actually the frame rate is very close. It's actually closer in 2D mode than it is in VR. Sorry for all the warnings going off in the cockpit. As I say, I'm doing this regardless of my own safety for you guys. Look at this, look, it's actually incredibly close here. Probably more like 3, maybe even 2 to 3 frames per second better. So in conclusion then, will I be upgrading to this new system? Absolutely not. Particularly when the 13th generation Intel CPUs with the 40 series Nvidia cards around the corner. However, if you are thinking of upgrading from, say, a much lower PC system, say a 2080 Ti card or a sort of lower 30 series card running a 9900K or below, then you may get a substantial difference in performance, given the fact that even in this test there has been moments where I've seen 10 frames per second more in VR. But anyway, I just want to close the video by saying a massive thank you to STORMFORCE for allowing me to borrow their top-end, high-end computer for 2 weeks. They really are a fantastic company, and I'm not sponsored, folks, by them to say that. I'm not being paid anything. In fact, I think the only reason why I had the chance to even do these videos is because many of the people who work at STORMFORCE are flight sim and race sim fans, and particularly VR fans as well. So I think that says it all. I just want to mention also that a number of my subscribers are now rocking STORMFORCE computers and are very happy. They come with a 3-year warranty, and I do have a special discount code. You can even ring them up and just mention my channel, and I'm sure they'll sort you out with a great deal. I'll leave you with shots of London City in ultra settings mode. Look at that, that is one hell of a shot actually, with the 146 over London with those skies. Incredible. I hope you found this video informative and useful. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye bye for now.